Hi everyone, it's Rachel with Rachel Super Cute Creations, and I am on a little bit early for my craft with me today. And we're going to play around with some playing cards. And so, what I want you to do is, I want you to just grab some vintage or new playing cards, and they can have something on the back. Um, this one is just a regular bicycle card. And what I want you to do is just grab some of those because we're going to make some embellishments today. So I hope everybody's having a wonderful Sunday. Um, we're going to go ahead and do a few different methods. I've already put some tissue over these, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. But as you're coming in, if you'd please say hello over on the right-hand side, I would appreciate it. I'm going to just go ahead and type a couple of things in, and we're going to get started. The other thing I have is just some basic acrylic gesso, because I thought we might want to make some shabby chic looking cards today too. So what can you do with these? While I'm putting in my information, I want to talk to you a little bit about what can you do with these. Well, first of all, they can be tucks. You can make little booklets, and these can be sort of the front of your booklet, which is very nice. You can use these. You can put coffee dyed paper on the back, and you can use them as journaling cards. For those of you who like ATC cards, that's another thing you can do with them. It's a great way to kind of keep a flat embellishment and make something really cute. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm just adjusting my light a little bit. Hopefully that's okay for everybody and you can see. Give me just 1 second. I do have a Facebook page, Super Cute Creations. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there for you. For those of you that have not had an opportunity to join my Facebook page, please do, because I do also have a variety of things that I show on my Facebook page. So just go ahead here and add that link in there. How many of you are getting ready for the Super Bowl? Anybody getting ready for the Super Bowl today? So there's my Facebook page. If you've not followed me on Facebook, please do. And then I'm also going to put my Etsy shop on there, which is Rachel's Cute Creations. Excuse me. And hi, Connie, how are you? All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to do is this right here is my brush that I use for my Mod Podge. So this is a basic brush. It's Royal and Langnickel, and I did get them at Michael's. And I use this because it's a synthetic brush. So I don't use my good painting brushes with my Mod Podge. So I did want to make sure I let you guys know that, because a couple of you have been asking me about brushes and what to use. Gesso, there are ways you can make your own gesso. If you do not have gesso at home, but you have white acrylic paint, you can use white acrylic paint. So I've added just a little bit of water here for my brush. And ooh, that lid does not want to come off. And all I'm going to do, I did get a brand new glass mat, so I'm excited about using that today. It is one of the Caterpillar tempered glass mats. So I'll let you guys know how I like this mat. But you're supposed to be able to just wipe off if you get glue or paint or anything like that on it. So I'm excited to try that out. Apologize for the noise. I have to get a baby wipe here to get my hands clean. All right. So I'm going to put just a little bit of gesso on my mat because I'm supposed to be able to just wipe it clean. So we'll give it a try. And then I'm using just a 1-inch brush. So I'm going to grab some gesso and I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to just gesso over this, just kind of lighten it up a little bit, giving it sort of a shabby chic look, because I thought we might want to make a few that look sort of shabby chic. Now, these are perfectly fine. The thing about gesso is it's great to put over things that are shiny or have a little bit of a shininess to them, because then it allows it to be able to be written on. So I'm just going to take my tool here and kind of hold this. And I'm just lightening up. All right, so we're going to set this one over to dry. We'll do a couple of them. Just going to grab this gesso and we're just going to go over it. Not a fan. You're not a fan of the mat or not a fan of gesso? Connie, which one aren't you a fan of? Or not a fan of shabby chic? All right. So you can kind of see the difference here. Oh, a football? Yeah, it's not my favorite either. It's just lightening it up just a little bit. So I'm going to paint a few of them and then we'll move on and I'll show you how to Mod Podge. Well, good. I'm glad you're not a fan. I'm glad you're here watching me instead. I actually have some things I need to do on my Facebook page tonight. So I thought, well, I'll go ahead and do that. So I'm just gessoing this over. And this just takes that really stark, bright colors away, makes it age a little bit, and we'll kind of go from there. So we've gessoed 4 already. Oh, well, that's so sweet of you. Thank you. All right. So I have gessoed 5 of these cards first. Actually, I'm going to do one more. And then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to also just put a little bit of gesso. All right. I'm going to take one of these and we're going to just put a little bit of gesso over this tissue paper and we'll see how that goes. Just grab a little bit of water, kind of get that cleaned up off of there. So far, so good. Impressed with this glass mat. I'm just kind of whitewashing. Yeah, the only thing I really like about the Super Bowl is to watch the commercials, but I'll be honest with you, I was not all that impressed with the commercials last year, so we'll see. Okay, so I just wiped the rest of that gesso right off of my glass mat. So we're going to let these kind of dry. And the cool thing about gesso is it does not take long to dry at all. If you want to help it along a little bit, you can. And I would do that with a blow dryer. All right. So we're going to leave these gessoed as is. I apologize. We were at a volleyball game and this stamp, I'm having a hard time getting off my hand. So apologize. You guys are going to have to kind of look at that today. All right. So now what did I do to these other ones? I had some of this pattern paper that was very yellowed. And so what I did, let me kind of set these over here. I'm running out of room already. We just started. All right. So what I did is I kind of just laid out a piece of this tissue paper that I liked. And I'm going to do this part right here because I like all this writing. I just kind of laid it out. And you want it actually the other way. So notice the words are up. If I put the card on it like this, the words are going to be backwards. So you need to make sure you get it going the right way. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this tissue paper out just like this. And I want some of these words. Now, what I use for Mod Podge is a 3-to-1 ratio of Aleene's Original Tacky Glue and water. And I find for me, this seems to be the best way for me to get a good base for Mod Podge. And so this is a dollar store container. I put a little sponge in the top because I don't like to get my items too wet when I'm working on it. And I'll show you another reason why I do this, because when I'm working with ephemera to stick down, I don't always have to use a brush. I can just stick it on top of here and kind of get what I need on there for the adhesive and move on. And I love this cap because I just set my brush in there. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to just go ahead and lay down my cards. Now, I'm not putting a ton of Mod Podge on here. You don't need to. You just need enough to kind of stick that tissue paper on there. If you get it too wet, and these cards are not bicycle cards. These are just red ones that I got at the dollar store. If you get them too wet, they will curl, which is fine. And I see this little, and you do want to put something underneath because it will go through a little bit. There's this little piece of tape measure, so I want to get that on here because I think that's really cute. So let's just go ahead and stick that down. And I usually will stick down a few and then I'll cut them apart. So we'll do that, get them going, and then we'll start playing with these. Hi, Raquel. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Those of you that are in, please say hello so I know that you're in here. I love to just chat with people and acknowledge that you're here. Otherwise, it just sounds like I'm talking to myself, which my family thinks I'm nuts every Sunday when I'm talking to you guys because I'm talking and no one else is talking back to me. But welcome this afternoon. I really appreciate you watching. So I'm just adding these cards down and I'm kind of lifting up as I go. Yeah, I should have lifted this one a little sooner. It's wanting to stick right to this mat. Oh, darn it. That's what happens when you're talking and not paying attention. When I had it on my glass mat by itself, it didn't do that. So I'm going to just move it over to my glass mat and we'll make it work. So the other thing I want to do is this is one that we gessoed. So let's see what happens when we put this one down. Let's see what the difference, what the looks like. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to put some of my glue down and we're going to put that gessoed card down. Okay. All right. So we have 5 down. I think that's a good start for us. You do want to make sure you take your brush and you put it in some water right away. If you don't do that, you're going to end up with some issues. And see how the glue comes through there. If you have a glass mat, you can just wipe it off. And all I'm using is a baby wipe. All right, I'm going to put this back down so you guys don't have to see the glare from my ring light. And you get something that looks like this. So by using this tissue paper, I took these white ones and these white cards, and yes, they came up a little bit, but that's okay because we're going to do some collaging over them. We took these cards and we made them look more vintage. You're watching from Vancouver, Washington. Welcome. I did not sand them first, Kelly. I did not. Use wax paper if you don't have a glass mat. Great idea. Great idea. Thank you for the tips. Yeah, if you ladies have tips as we're going through, please, please, please feel free to share. So the next thing I do is I apologize, my dogs are barking. I just kind of roughly cut around these and I save this tissue paper and we're going to cut out these cards. So what I'm going to do though is I am going to let them dry a little bit because I did get kind of a lot of my mixture, my homemade Mod Podge on here, and they're a little sticky. So we're going to kind of set this to the side for a minute. We're going to grab these gessoed ones. And these, Kelly, I did use gesso on. And you're from Spokane, Washington. Welcome. Well, for those of you who don't know or might be new to my channel, I'm from Michigan. All right. So we're going to we finished these, but we're going to work on these. So I like to work on 2 at a time when I work on these, because as you know, we're working on things to build up our stashes. So I typically try to work 2 at a time, and then you want to trim around your cards. Now, you do not have to put the tissue on all of the card like I did. If you want to just do part of it, you can do just part of it. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is I am using Vintage Photo. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to ink up my edges a little bit. So this one, it definitely looks sanded, which I like. And I didn't have to do all that sanding. I just added the Mod or the gesso over top. Excuse me. Yeah, they are pretty. And you don't have to do the sanding and make the mess. I have sanded them before, you guys, and you can do that. But if you just put a little gesso over them, or you go ahead and just Mod Podge the tissue, or you can even do napkins. Last week we played with napkins. You can even do the napkins. All right, so there we go. So we've inked these 2. And if I want, I can kind of come across here and just give it a little more of a vintage look. Just like that. And if I want, I can be done with this one. This one could be done. We could just make it, and we could actually make the back a little vintage looking too. But what I want to do is kind of go for a shabby chic look. Now, I have this bin of ephemera that I told you guys we're going to use up. So it has a variety of things from scrapbook paper to cutouts. There are flowers. There are all kinds of things. And we're going to make this look kind of cottage chic. So this is a journaling card that I'm just going to tear around so that I have something that looks more like an ephemera piece. Now, the other thing I love, you can make these more of a 3D look, but I like things flat in my journals. Or the other thing is you can put these on cards. So if you have a thank you card, or you have an envelope or something like that, these can be used to embellish that. All right, so we're going to just see, I like to use at least 3 items if I can on each one. So I'm kind of going through, excuse my hand here, and I'm looking for what are some things that I can use. So I'm pulling ephemera, pulling things that would be cute with my embellishments. Also, and definitely share the video. That helps me get more viewers. My goal is to get 10,000 viewers this year. So if you all would help me do that, I would greatly appreciate it. And then I even have like magazine images, all kinds of things in here. And we're just going to keep adding to it. Okay, so we have a piece of Tim Holtz ephemera here. And we have this little flower. I'm trying to decide if I want to, what I want to do here. All right, I need some flowers. So I'm looking here. And you can use tickets. You can use just about anything to kind of dress this up. And use these. I love to make little booklets, and I love to put these on the front as sort of the cover because these are done and you can just glue them down and you're done. And you can make little pockets with them and all kinds of things. So that's really fun. So I'm still digging in my bin of goodies, and there's so much stuff in here, you guys. Oh, one of these days I'm just going to tip it all over into the garbage can so I can start over. And then I have words, which we could add words to it. Let's see. Apologize for being so indecisive here. All right. So I am going to go ahead and ink up the edges of this so I can make it look a little more vintage because it is very stark white. It was printed on white cardstock. So by adding a little bit of ink, we've kind of matched this. All right. I need something behind here. And so when I'm looking for something to go behind, sometimes I will just take some book page. And if it's book page, and so this is just a scrap of book page that I had. And I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, let's do a little bit of ink, but I don't want too much ink because I do not want it to go into my background. So what kind of journals or what kind of items are you guys working on now? I'd love to hear. Oh, yeah, that's a nice contrast. Okay, so we're going to get out our piece here. And I'm going to get my brush. And let's see. What are you guys working on? Everybody's so quiet today. All right. So I'm grabbing just a little bit of my glue, not a lot. Oops, not a lot. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this book page down. So I'm just putting a very thin layer of the adhesive on here and Mod Podging that down. Just like that. Started a Do-Si-Do booklet, Connie. That's interesting. Very cool. I've not done one of those yet. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my adhesive on. This is a very thick cardstock, so I do need to make sure that I get quite a bit of glue on it so it will stay down. And I'm going to go ahead and I want to leave a little bit of this heart sticking out right here. So I'm just going to lay it down. And then what I like to do is take my bone folder and make sure that it's burnished down well. First time you've heard of it. Okay, so where did you get the inspiration, Connie, for the do-si-do? Because I don't know that I've heard of it either. And then I picked this stamp because it matches the green that's in my leaves, excuse me. So I'm thinking I should add this. I don't know. What do you guys think? Stamp or no stamp? Stamp or no stamp? While I'm letting that dry, you guys let me know. What do you think? Should I add the stamp or leave the stamp off of there? All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to ink around this a little bit. I kind of like this side. Kind of like this side because it matches this. Okay, Christina Sanford of Burlap and Daily Bread. Huh, I'll have to check that out. So I was originally going to do this side, but this side is a good contrast to this. And then that gives me two cards that kind of go together. So if I wanted to use two of these in a booklet, they would go well together. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add this. I'm going to leave a little bit of that number 2 showing because I don't want to completely cover up all of my card. Now, this is the one that was gessoed, so it has a little bit of a rough finish to it, and I like that. I want to add this to it. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out. What's everybody else working on? Is anybody making food for the Super Bowl tonight? This is a Tim Holtz piece that I'm adding. All right, and I need one more piece. I've got the 2. It's kind of plain, but I like it. These 2 can still kind of go together. You guys think I should add this stamp on here or not? I really kind of, I don't know. I kind of like it just like this. Maybe I'll add the stamp on this one. But I still think this needs something more. It only has 2 pieces on it. We haven't done the 3. And my rule is always kind of to use 3 pieces. So I would be breaking my rule if I left it. All right. Oh, I have. Ooh. I think I'll add this to the bottom and that will give me a 3rd piece. Maria just started a dog themed journal. Oh, good for you. That's going to be fun. And welcome, Maria. Thanks for sharing. All right, so this one is done. What do you guys think? Do you like that? I think it's kind of cute. All right, I want to find something that's going to kind of go along with this, but not the same. So I'm digging in here for, what is it today? Maybe some flowers or this was a printable. Yeah, I think we'll add those little flowers there. And so these are just fun. You just use up supplies you already have. You don't have to go out and buy anything. Just using up stuff that's in your stash. And we're keeping them nice and flat so that we can put them in our book without any problems. I really kind of like this butterfly and this little, yeah, it's too big, but we're going to use that on something else. All right. So let's look at another one. What do you think? I really like these. Those would be really cute. Okay. So let's do another one. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to ink this one up a little bit. I really like the texture that the gesso has put on here, or has made. I didn't put on there. I'm going to grab a little piece of napkin scrap because I see one that must have fallen last weekend when we were doing Mod Podging napkins, because I see a little piece here on my floor that I must have missed when I was cleaning up. So we're going to take this and we're going to add it just to give a little bit of texture here. All right, so we added that to the corner. And now I'm going to look back in my messy box here, and we're going to find some things to put in here. Let's see. So I'm not sure if anybody has any big plans this weekend. I do not, or this week, I should say. I do not. I have to work. I have just seems like every weekend is busy, busy, busy. I am doing a party on next Sunday. So next Sunday, I will not be on. I will probably have to do a pre-recorded video for all of you. Because I will be in someone's house teaching that day. And then next Saturday, my students have a science fair. So I'll be working on a science fair or watching the science fair to see how my students do. So I'm excited about that. And other than that, that's pretty much, my week is just busy. This time of year all the way till graduation time is really busy for me. So from now until about May, um, it's going to get crazy, 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 crazy. All right. So I'm not sure. I'm very indecisive today, which I apologize because that's makes it difficult for you guys watching me. All right. I think this is what I'm going to do. So I have all these pieces. This is a Tim Holtz piece. It's an old button card. And I am also going to take a little piece of the sewing pattern because I'm using a button card, and I'm going to add a little bit of this on here just because I want to kind of keep with the theme, and I'm going to kind of go over those flowers just a little bit to mute them. So we've gessoed the card. We put a little piece of napkin, floral napkin on there. I'm putting a little piece of the pattern paper. Now I'm going to use a Tim Holtz button card. I'm going to kind of put that on an angle. And then I have this piece from, just scoot this up just a little bit, you guys. Sorry about that. This is a piece from Sanami Rose. It's one of her digitals, and you can cut them out. So this is a little comb. It's like a vintage women's comb. So we're going to add that. And then I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll ink that up a little bit. But because I Mod Podged over the whole thing, we're going to have to kind of let it dry a little, and then we'll add some more layers. I want to do, I have this, it's getting close to Valentine's Day. So I want to do a Valentine's one. And I think we'll use the Ace of Hearts just because the red for Valentine's Day. I have these cute little boy and girl tag, but I don't want to use it like a tag. I want to make a piece of ephemera out of it. So I'm just tearing around. And you can see she's making a heart. It looks like maybe she's sewing a heart. It looks like he's trying to hold the thread for her. She's sitting on a bench. It's just so cute. Ooh, it's a little big. Well, I think we can make it work. I think we can make it work. Yeah, that'll fit. Cute. So yeah, you can get printables. You can take tags. I don't always use them how they're supposed to be used. Sometimes I just tear around them and make a totally different piece of ephemera. So, you know, when you get something, just remember you don't have to use it exactly as it is. If you have scrapbook paper or something like that and you want to use the scrapbook paper, sometimes I'll take those cut apart cards. And so for this one, I ripped around this little image because this was part of a cut apart, but this was the backing of what this was. So it was a two-sided scrapbook paper. So I went ahead and I just I went ahead and I used both sides of it because I matted it with its own paper that was on the other side. So, you know, just another way to kind of think about how to use your supplies that you already have. You don't have to go out and buy new supplies. Think about how can you repurpose what it is you have with you right now or what you have in your stash. All right, so we have that. And there's a little space down here. So I'm wondering if I can find something little to put right there. And I have these, I don't know if they're French or what, but they're English to another language card. I think they're French. And so I was going to look in here real quick to see if there was something that would kind of go with the little girl and the little boy. And I'm looking at the back, so I know the English version. Well, we can do this one. It's near, close by. So what I like to do sometimes with these is I like to cut out the number. If I'm not going to use them as is, I can cut out the number. But I can also cut out the words. So remember, this means near or close by. And so that kind of goes with our children. I'm just going to ink around the edges a little bit. We're going to add this down here at the bottom. It's like this. So that gives us 2 elements. And the thing I like about these cards is you get a green side and a black side. So I can use the green numbers up here. You guys, are you able to hear me okay? And I'm hoping we're not buffering because it's been so quiet from everybody. I'm not sure here. If someone could let me know if we're doing okay, as long as we're not buffering or. All right. So I went ahead and I added this little number up here. I added this little French word down here. And then I think I'm going to look in here to see. Add these 3 little blings. So there's our cute little Valentine. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Maria. I appreciate it. You guys are so quiet. I'm either putting you to sleep or I never know. Isn't that cute? All right. Kind of made this one look a little more vintage. I'm going to add a few pieces of bling to this one too. We'll add them right over here. Oops. Let's grab a different one. My fingers are getting icky. Okay, good. I'm glad the sound is good. I'm not liking those. Not liking those at all. All right, I get my 3 little blings. Oh, good, Connie, I'm glad. Yeah, they make great ATC artist trading cards. Those would be perfect. And this one I'll probably do some more too. I'm not loving that one. but it still needs to dry. So now, if you are just one of those people that say, I am not that creative, I can't, I don't have all that stuff, I don't know what to do, then you can grab a napkin. You can gesso your card, grab a napkin, just ink it just a little tiny bit. The thing I like about the napkin is that it will show through. So I just go ahead, put a little bit of Mod Podge on here. I'm going to take this and line it up. We'll get over top, just like that. Then you can trim it. Then you can just take a light coat of Mod Podge. I don't put a lot on. Just a very light coat. And then you can have a card that's like this. Hi, Deborah, how are you? Yeah, isn't that a pretty napkin? And it just makes a cute little journaling card. And so typically then what I'll do is when this dries, and I'll take and I'll put some more ink over the edges, and it'll give it just that vintage look. And you're good to go. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Deborah. See, and I can take and add. I still love this guy. Just take off a little bit of these stripes, a little more of these stripes that I don't love. Well, I thought I wanted that little postage thing, but I really think I just want this butterfly. So I'm going to add this butterfly at the bottom. Yeah, we'll add it right here. And there we go. Okay. Let's see. What do we have in here? This was from a piece of scrapbook paper. And this one we're going to keep pretty simple. Let's see. I need a different piece. Did you Gesso the card. Yes, I did gesso the card. Yep, I gessoed the card, just a little light coat on it before we got started. Let's see here. Yeah, I knew what you meant, Deborah. I knew what you meant. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and ink this one. And you can stamp. I mean, if you had a script stamp, you could do, if you gessoed it, you could do a little bit of script stamping on it. And this one, I'm just going to create a little collage on here. And that's it. I'm going to call this one a day. So I have these little claim check tickets. I'm going to add that. I'm going to add this number 3 on here. Actually, I don't know. I don't want a 30 on there. Let's do a 26. Let's do this one because it already has a 3 on there. There we go. So we're going to ink this up. And I'm going to just start layering these. This is a pretty thick piece, so I want to make sure I get quite a bit of glue on there. I didn't quite need that much, though. Okay. Come in here and put it at an angle. Then I'm going to take my number 3, and this was just a piece of scrapbook paper. I want to be able to see where it says claim check. And then I'm going to take and put this up here. Maybe like this. And we have a nice neutral piece that can be used in a variety of journals. And it just has the numbers and just sort of, this one's very neutral. Then I can come back and I can darken my edges even darker and really give it that Tim Holtz vintage look here. And this one's fun because you can always add something to it if you wanted to. You know, if I wanted it to be, this is kind of has a masculine look. If I wanted to add a little bit of bling, I could. If I wanted to add a little bit of fiber, I could. So I like this one because it's very versatile and can be used in a lot of different journals. Does anybody have any questions? So here's the other piece of that paper. And because we're using scraps up, I'm going to go ahead and use this up so that I have one that kind of matches it. We'll grab this claim check and I'm going to put it on top this time. So I try when I'm making these, I think in twos. And then if I don't end up using them both, I can just put one in Happy Mail for somebody else. But sometimes in your journal, as we know, you want one in your first signature and one in your second signature that kind of matches. So when I make these, I kind of try to think in twos, and how can I make two that are similar, not the same, but similar. So we're doing the same thing, same process on this one. The only difference is on this one, I am going to add a stamp. Add a vintage stamp on this. Add this green vintage stamp. Now, remember when I told you about why I have this? When I have small pieces, I just set it on top of the sponge, lift it up. So sometimes when I'm working, I don't need to use my brush. I can just use the sponge. And there we go. We have another tag. And see, these two can kind of go together. Or not tag. Now, if you could make these tags if you wanted to, you could put a tab on the top of it. You could, so let's pretend, well, I could do it on this one. If I wanted to put some coffee dyed paper on the back of it, whoops, we could make a tag, or I could put a tab on it. I could put a tab on the side. Those are fun. You could punch a hole in them and actually make a tag, a hanging tag. But I think these are really cute, and they're just a nice addition to your journaling. So let's kind of I want to kind of show you what we made today. You get all this junk out of the way. And let's look at what we made today. Okay, sorry. Sometimes I get a little overboarding and put too much stuff on. All right, so here's what we made. And you can sew. I sewed on this. These I made some little nests out of old threads. Excuse me. So in a matter of about an hour, we made 2, 4, 6, 7 of these. And we also, of course, have some that need to be cut out. I still have to cut these, but you can make these fairly quickly, and they are a great addition to your journals, great addition to your crafting. You could take these if you like to make cards, if you're a card maker. You could put these on your cards as embellishments. All you have to do is just go ahead and make your card base, and then use these as an embellishment just like you would anything else. You could use them to make little notes, Happy Mail. If you wanted to, like I said, you could gesso the backs of them, or you could you could make these, you could fold them if you wanted to. You could fold them in half and make little mini cards. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with these. I would love to see what you guys come up with. I'd love to see you guys play with this. I will make a posting on my Facebook page. And if you guys go ahead and give this a try, if you would please post what you made, I'd love to see what you guys make. And if you make a post on my Facebook page, I will do a drawing, and I will send you guys a couple of mine as a freebie. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. If you like to watch the Super Bowl, I hope you enjoy your Super Bowl time. If you don't like to watch the Super Bowl, then I suggest you find some playing cards and you give this a shot because it's really fun. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Hope you have a great week. As I said before, make sure you take every day or at least one day during the week to do some crafting. So grab out your supplies, and I hope this week that you do some altered playing cards. And then, like I said, head on over to my Facebook page. I did put information in there, and it's under a different name. I'll post it one more time in here. I posted it at the top, but I'll post it one more time for you guys so you can have it. And like I said, post. I'll make a post today. If you post something underneath there, then I will draw some people and I'll send you guys some free altered cards that I made. So I hope everybody has a great evening, a great week, and I'll talk to everybody next week. Bye, guys.